At 69, Tom Hanks finally opens up about the truth behind Rob Reiner, and it hits different now. This isn't some polished Hollywood soundbite. It's the reflection of a man who's lived it, survived it, and watched the industry from the inside for decades. Please subscribe. It means a lot to me and costs you nothing. Long before awards, power lunches, and red carpets, Tom Hanks was just Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, born July 9, 1956 in Concord, California, trying to find stability in a childhood that didn't offer much of it. His early life was shaped by constant moves and emotional shakeups after his parents divorced. Raised mostly by his father, young Tom learned how to stand on his own fast. That lack of consistency forced him to read people closely, their moods, their silences, their pain. That skill didn't come from acting school, it came from survival, and it later became his secret weapon on screen. Those formative years sharpened his emotional radar. He noticed the tiny things, the pause before a smile, the tension in a voice, the way fear hides behind humor. While his home life lacked structure, it built adaptability and empathy, qualities that became the backbone of both his career and his public image. He didn't just play characters, he understood them. Acting found him in college, where theater became an outlet instead of an escape. Stage productions taught him discipline, timing, and vulnerability. After leaving school, he chased the dream with zero guarantees, landing small television roles that let his natural comedic rhythm shine. He wasn't loud or flashy, he was relatable, and that mattered. The early 1980s changed everything when he landed Bosom Buddies. His physical comedy popped, but what really grabbed audiences was his warmth. At that time, Hollywood boxed him in as the fun guy, the charming joker who could carry laughs but not weight. That label didn't last long. By the mid to late 1980s, movies like Splash, Big, and A League of Their Own flipped the narrative. Big especially exposed something rare, his ability to play innocence without sounding fake or corny. That role earned him his first Oscar nomination and proved he could ground even wild ideas in emotional truth. Then the 1990s hit like a takeover. Back-to-back Academy Awards for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump locked his place in history. In Philadelphia, he delivered a performance full of courage and compassion during a time when the subject matter made people uncomfortable. He didn't preach, he humanized. Forrest Gump turned him into a cultural landmark. What looked simple on the surface carried deep emotional layers underneath. He made restraint powerful. He made silence speak. That balance became his signature. As his career matured, his choices stayed intentional. Saving Private Ryan showed quiet leadership under unbearable pressure. Cast Away proved he could carry an entire film alone, without hiding behind dialogue. Isolation, endurance, and emotional control became tools, not gimmicks. His collaborations with Spielberg only deepened that reputation. Intelligence, warmth, and authority blended naturally. Even in animation, his voice as Woody gave generations something real to hold on to. Loyalty, growth, and emotional maturity came through sound alone. Behind the camera, his impact kept growing. Historical projects like Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and Masters of the Air reflected his respect for real people and real sacrifice. These weren't vanity projects, they were purpose-driven. And long before he became Hollywood's most trusted face, it all started on network television. Bosom Buddies wasn't just a sitcom, it was a warning sign. Week after week, audiences saw a performer who could be awkward, funny, and deeply human at the same time. That balance didn't fade, it evolved. As his career picked up speed, Tom Hanks crossed into a rare level of trust and admiration that very few entertainers ever reach. That respect showed up loud and clear when Saturday Night Live invited him back an incredible 10 times, a milestone reserved only for performers who never miss with live audiences or viewers at home. Every appearance proved the same thing again and again. He could flip from sharp comedy to sincere emotion, from controlled chaos to unexpected warmth without losing the room for a second. Those hosting gigs weren't just funny, they became moments people still quote and replay. His timing felt effortless, his energy stayed loose, and his willingness to lean into the madness showed how comfortable he was in his own skin. That kind of confidence doesn't come from ego, it comes from experience. While fans focused on what he did on camera, Hanks was quietly reshaping television behind the scenes. He founded his own production company, Playtone, and used it to push storytelling to a whole different level. This wasn't fast content or filler television. This was cinematic work built with patience, care, and purpose. Through Playtone, he helped bring ambitious projects to life that raised expectations across the industry. From the Earth to the Moon to Band of Brothers, John Adams, The Pacific, Game Change, and Olive Kitteridge, every project carried the same signature: emotional depth, historical respect, and serious craftsmanship. These stories weren't rushed, and they weren't shallow. They stayed with people long after the credits rolled. Awards followed, but that was never the main goal. The through line was meaning. He focused on real people, real sacrifice, and the emotional cost of history. That consistency earned him respect not just as an actor, but as a guardian of serious storytelling. Never satisfied staying in one lane, Hanks eventually stepped onto the Broadway stage. In 2013, he made his theatrical debut in Nora Ephron's Lucky Guy, and critics took notice fast. His presence didn't shrink under stage lights, it expanded. He proved that the same honesty that worked on film carried even more weight in front of a live audience. That performance earned him a Tony Award nomination, locking in his status as a rare talent who could move seamlessly between television, film, and theater. No tricks, no shortcuts, just craft. Off-screen, his personal life unfolded far more quietly, but with just as much emotional complexity. His first marriage was to actress Samantha Lewis, born Susan Jane Dillingham, during a time when both were still chasing stability. They met through theater, bonded by shared ambition, and built a relationship long before fame entered the picture. Those early years weren't glamorous. They were filled with auditions, uncertainty, and financial pressure. Together, they started a family while Hanks was still largely unknown, balancing dreams with responsibility. They welcomed 2 children, Colin Hanks and Elizabeth Ann Hanks. Colin grew up watching his father's slow rise before carving out his own respected acting career. He earned recognition on his own terms, not just through a famous last name. Elizabeth, meanwhile, was raised mostly away from the spotlight. She later shared reflections through writing, offering thoughtful insight into her upbringing without chasing attention. As Hanks's career exploded in the 1980s, the marriage began to feel the strain. Long hours, constant travel, and growing fame created emotional distance that became harder to bridge. In 1987, the couple divorced, ending a chapter that shaped Hanks' early adulthood. In later years, Hanks openly acknowledged the pain and regret surrounding that period. He admitted immaturity, pressure, and emotional disconnect played a role. The experience changed him, leaving lessons that followed him forward. Samantha Lewis later battled bone cancer and passed away in 2002 at age 49. Her death deeply affected Hanks and their children, bringing reflection and respect to a shared past. He has always spoken about her with care, honoring her role as a mother and an important part of his life. While still married to Lewis, Hanks first met Rita Wilson in 1981 on the set of Bosom Buddies. At the time, nothing romantic developed, just a natural connection. Years later, they reunited on Volunteers, and that friendship slowly turned into something deeper. Their bond grew through mutual respect, humor, and emotional alignment. Not flash, not rush, just real. Rita Wilson, of Greek and Bulgarian descent, was raised in the Greek Orthodox Church, a faith that shaped her values long before marriage. When Tom Hanks chose to convert to Greek Orthodoxy, it wasn't for optics or headlines, it was personal. He didn't frame it as certainty or doctrine, but as reflection. Church, for him, became a place to sit with questions instead of pretending to have answers. Hanks has spoken openly about how faith helped him process life's contradictions, joy sitting right next to pain, hope existing alongside disappointment. He describes belief as a mystery, something that teaches humility instead of control. That mindset mirrors the way he approaches people, stories, and relationships, with patience, empathy, and respect. In 1988, Hanks and Wilson married, beginning a partnership that has quietly defied Hollywood odds. Decades later, their relationship is still held up as one of the most stable and affectionate in the industry. No spectacle, no chaos, just loyalty, humor, and mutual admiration. Wilson is often described as Hanks's emotional anchor. As his career soared, she grounded him, offered perspective, and kept the noise from becoming the point. Hanks has consistently said that she helped him grow, not just as a husband or father, but as a man. He doesn't say that lightly. Together, they raised 2 sons. Their eldest, Chester Chet Hanks, pursued music and acting, stepping into the public eye with ambition that sometimes attracted heavy media attention. He released a rap song in 2011 and later appeared on shows like Empire and Shameless. Chet's journey hasn't been smooth, but it's been honest. Hanks and Wilson have addressed his struggles with openness, emphasizing accountability, growth, and family loyalty. Their message stayed consistent. Setbacks don't cancel potential. Their younger son, Truman Theodore Hanks, born in 1995, took a quieter path. He stayed mostly behind the scenes, choosing filmmaking over fame. In a rare on-screen moment, he played the younger version of his father's character in A Man Called Otto. Subtle, symbolic, and deeply personal. That moment reflected something bigger. Storytelling running through generations, not forced, not flashy, just real. It showed how creativity lives inside the family without needing attention. At this stage of life, Tom Hanks speaks with calm honesty, earned through decades of experience. And when the conversation turns to Rob Reiner, he doesn't hesitate. Rob understands that entertainment isn't about ego, it's about empathy, Hanks says. Hanks explains it simply. If you don't care about the people on screen, the audience never will. That belief, he says, is why Reiner's films still connect long after trends fade. Rob listens, Hanks adds. That sounds simple, but it's rare. He listens to the script, the actors, and the story itself. When you work with someone like that, you feel protected. Reiner creates spaces where creative risks feel safe, where vulnerability isn't rushed or judged. Hanks says that kind of environment doesn't happen by accident. It comes from someone who knows what it's like on both sides of the camera. Reflecting on Reiner's legacy, Hanks points to emotional honesty. Rob never chases cynicism, he says. Even in comedy or romance, there's always belief in people trying to do the right thing. That sincerity, Hanks believes, is why audiences trust Reiner. You're not being manipulated, he explains. You're being invited in. In an industry addicted to noise, Hanks says Reiner always chose clarity. Character over chaos. Story over speed. That lesson, Hanks says, is something I've carried my entire career. Looking back now, Hanks calls Reiner a standard bearer. He set a bar, he says, not just for movies, but for how you treat people while making them. Success fades, integrity doesn't, and Rob Reiner proved you never have to sacrifice one to get the other. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like, share this story, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and drop your thoughts in the comments below.